Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. What a feast of racing we have in store for you over this coming weekend. It's very much a case of one door opening and another door closing. The door opens on Champion Season 2018 at Greyville on Friday night, the 4th of May. And of course, it closes on the Highveld Feature Season with a fantastic day's racing at Turfentine this Saturday, the 5th of May. A 500,000 Rand Pick 6 carryover at Greyville and a R1 million Pick 6 carryover at Turfentine. And of course, that new innovation, the special jackpot. The two guineas at Greyville form the first two legs, and the computer form sprint and the Champions Challenge form the last two legs of that special jackpot, which starts with a seeded pool of 50,000 Rand. Well, joining me in the studio this evening to chat about the Greyville card and also discuss the special jackpot, first of all, welcome to Warren Lenferner. Warren, nice to have you in the show.
Thank you very much, Graham. Always a pleasure to be here, and really some exciting racing to look forward to, and the action's going to start, and we've got some wonderful horses to watch, and really it's going to be fantastic. Thank you for having me.
You know, Warren, obviously Champion Season kicks off officially on Friday night, the 4th of May, but April kind of serves as a curtain raiser. And the one thing we've seen is that the Cape boys have hit the ground running.
They certainly have. They have indeed. And, you know, they come up for a purpose, and they bring quality horses here for us to enjoy, the racing public, and to take on our local boys and girls. And wonderful. They've hit the ground running, and I tell you, it's really going to be something exciting.
Well, the man who certainly hit the ground running is other guest tonight, Justin Snaith, former champion trainer of South Africa. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Graham. Great to be here.
Congratulations today. I believe Made to Conquer. I must confess I didn't get to see any racing. I was involved in meetings all day, but I believe Made to Conquer was super impressive at Scottsville today. Yes,
it was I thought I'd start a little bit quiet, but today was one of those days I needed to just show that we're here, and there could be a supplementary into another runner in the Durban July, you know, the early entry. So there's a good chance after this meeting I might just go onto my phone and supplement him into the Durban July. So we'll be quite excited.
You mean the Vodacom Durban July?
Sorry, the Vodacom Durban July. And so very excited. So it's a good start.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, obviously, I've already mentioned the special jackpot, and we're going to be chatting a little bit later more in depth about that. But you have runners. You are raiding Johannesburg. You're raiding the computer form sprint. So you have runners in 3 legs of the inaugural special jackpot. So we're going to be putting you under a little bit of pressure later. And we know that Justin loves pressure. He loves the pressure of Sunmet Race Day when he brings out his whole stable. He loves competing at the very highest level. So we'll find out just how bullish Justin Snaith is a little bit later on. But we're going to be going very quickly. Time only allows for us to go through very quickly the minor races, starting with race 1, just to give you an early preview of what Warren and I think, and Justin is welcome to chime in whenever he wishes to. But starting with race 1 on Friday evening, the first goes off at 16:40. It's the Villa Umdoni Maiden Juvenile Plate. It's over 1,000 meters. All the races on Friday night, of course, are very much on the turf. Now, of the racehorses, Warren, number 8 Palace Rose and number 9 Riptide do come into the race with a bit of form. But 2 very well-bred Captain L fillies, and what another season Captain L is having, which have barrier trialled exceptionally well. Of course, the number 1 Charge d'Affaires, number 7 Outlandos d'Amour. The one Outlandos d'Amour, number 7 on the card, finishing a short head behind Salt, who runs in the second race in its barrier trial. And Charge d'Affaires was up against the older horses in its barrier trial, finishing 3rd under a length behind Dragida. How do you see the opening race?
Yeah, Graham, I agree with you. I think the Captain L's here hold a strong hand. Charge d'Affaires would probably be my first choice. Drawn 1, Anton Marcus, 1,000 meters. Vaughan Marshall's horses are coming well now. They're needing, you know, this horse has had a barrier trial to Dragida. Dragida's run 4th since then, so there's a bit of form. I like Charge d'Affaires, but I have healthy respect for 8 Palace Rose as well.
Okay, but it's quite conceivable that a first-timer, that a technical first-timer will win the opening race. The betting will be a guide, of course. We've only got some indication of the betting on the 3 feature races, which we'll refer to a little bit later on. But as yet, none of the bookmakers have priced up on the minor races. So, of course, the betting will be a guide as to the possible outcome of race 1. But being a 9-race card, The first leg of the bipod is race 2. The first leg of the place accumulator is race 3. The first leg of our carryover pick 6 is race 4. The first leg of our local jackpot is race 5. The first leg of the special jackpot is race 6, but we'll keep filling in as we go along. But race 2 is the independent on Saturday, then and now juvenile plate over 1,400 meters. This race due off at 17:15. And again, as we mentioned, number 10, Salt, featured in that barrier trial without Landos Damour, gets the services of Anton Marcus from a good draw for the Dean Canamere stable, a Dynasty colt. And of course, we saw again at the recent National Yearling Sales that Dynasty was very much in demand. So that's put up an exceptional barrier trial from a 11 out of 12 gate. Another one that put up a very good barrier trial was number 4, or raced rather at Durbanville and ran second first time out, was Sacred Arrow, very well bred son of Oratory out of Jetur. That's number 4, Cesura. And then just number 5, Confessional, raced on very heavy ground last time out, went 6 to Immortel. But I do know that Justin Vermaak, who represents Green Street Bloodstock, really rates this horse. Does it look a match in 3, or was there something else that's caught your eye?
Graham, Provocateur, Vaughan Marshall's runner, the VAR out of Model IQ, I think needed the runner. I went and had a chat to Vaughan when it ran the other night, and he said he wouldn't be shocked if it won on that occasion, but you know, he also wouldn't be shocked if it needed the run, which it clearly did, running 4th to Clifton Crusher. I do like that. A Confessional, improving lengths-wise. You know, I mean, the barrier trialled well, good debut run, so you've got to respect Confessional. 5 foot from the Glen Cotson stable also ran, so that improved nicely to run second last time. Lunga Gile, the assistant trainer to the Glen Cotson stable, said that it would run well. We relayed that information to the punters, and it paid, I think, for 12 rand a place. So I've got respect for 5 foot, but I think Vaughan Marshall holds a strong hand here.
So you don't think that Salt is the clear first choice?
No, I don't. It's definitely got a chance. I'm not saying it can't win, but he must be a massive runner. He's, as you say, he's by Dynasty, out of an all-fired-up mare. Marcus, Canamere, drawn well.
There's quite a bit of talk.
Is there quite a bit of talk?
Yeah, there's a bit of talk around Summerfeld. I've heard a few rumours about Salt. There's a particular owner there that battles to keep his mouth closed sometimes.
You're not referring to John McVeigh, are you?
No.
One of the others, okay.
He's a heavy, when you get a bill from him, you know. There's a part side, there's a bit of talk about it.
Okay, well, that's lovely to hear.
Well, I think that clearly there's a plan.
Sure.
It's had a very good barrier trial. Anton Marcus drawn 3. Dean Canamere continues to churn out the winners amongst all of the other Cape trainers. But interesting, obviously, you prefer Provocateur to Cesura, and I understand that because he's better drawn, and obviously the jockey riding arrangements seem to suggest that Provocateur might be better than Cesura, but when they met first time out in the same race behind Sacred Arrow, Cesura actually finished in front of Provocateur, so there's possibly not much to choose between them. But I'm going to stick my neck out and say they might all have to run to beat number 5, Confessional. But the first leg of the bipod, a couple.
Yeah, a couple. I would go a couple, Graham. Certainly 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, no. You'd have to load up.
The betting again will be a good guide, and as Justin Snaith has said, the talk around Summerfeld is that number 10, Salt, could be the right horse. Third race is the first leg of the place accumulator, the independent on Saturday, Personal Finance maiden plate. It's over 2,000 metres. It's off at 10 minutes to 6, and one has to say that there are possibly no future superstars in the race, although one has to like the way that number 4, Young Gun, continues to improve from the Candice Bass Robinson stable, a 3-year-old son of Twice Over, out of a daughter of Rakeen. So after having gone 1,200, then 1,400, then 1,600, and then 1,800, this 2,000 metres, Justin, that's quite typical of Candice, isn't it, to sort of step them out slowly, going from 12 to 14 to 16 to 1,800 metres as they progress through the ranks, because certainly bred for this distance.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I give it a good chance, but it just seems like a very open race, and one of those races you might want to be careful with, because I think further on you might be able to go short. So, you know, it is very open.
Yeah, Warren, I thought that the only other possible runner, you know, I picked out 2. I know you're quite hot on American Captain, and you can explain why, but obviously Lord of Glencoe has got to have a chance.
Lord of Glencoe's definitely got to have a chance, Graham. You know, Belinda Impey's a small yard out at Ashburton, and she secured the services of Anton Marcus, again from a good draw. Anton's no mug, you know, he tries to get the better rides and the better draws. And this horse is consistent, so I think Lord of Glencoe's got to be a massive, massive runner. Going back to American Captain, he's a beautiful son of Captain L. I've seen him in the ring, I've seen him in the flesh. He really is a nice looking horse. He's only raced once or twice for Mark Dixon. There's some earlier form lines there that I think have been quite worth following. He's by no means a good thing, but for a lurker for me,
he does go an extra 400 metres, and
correct,
that could be a plus factor for him.
Absolutely. So he's going to go as a lurker for me.
So summarising race 3, which is the first leg of the place accumulator, I think probably Young Gun is going to start favourite with Lord of Glencoe close on his heels in the betting market. So from a place accumulator point of view, you're almost tempted to say 4 and 6 would be enough, but if you're looking to go a little bit wider, then perhaps you want to include number 3, American Captain. Mark Dixon's runners continue to perform well, and he could certainly sneak into the money trying the extra ground for the first time. Right, now we're into the business, the pick 6. And just to remind you, we have that pick 6 carryover of 500,000 Rand. The likely pool at Greyville on Friday night is 2.2 million Rand as Champion Season 2018 gets underway. So race 4, the first leg of that carryover pick 6 is at 18.25. It's the Independent on Saturday Arts and Pleasure Pinnacle Stakes. It's over 1,200 metres, and as one would expect in a pinnacle race, some of the better runners around that are trying to qualify perhaps or stake their claims for some of the feature sprints coming up are in action. That said, it looks quite open. It looks like quite a tough race. The 2 that I picked out was Will J. Reen from the number 1 gate. It's been a long time since he beat Buck Eye, and that was at Fairview on the 29th of October. But he's a classy individual. He's not rated 104 for nothing. He's obviously comes in with a big chance. I thought that number 8, Hard to Play, ran a super race in the Byerley Turk behind Undercover Agent. It's form, nothing wrong, 3 wins from 7 starts. But, Warren, the possibility of an upset, Percival, Cutting Edge, Visuality, Founding Father, it's all there.
It's there, Graham, for it to possibly throw an upset. But, going back to Hard to Play, I do like this horse. Son of Curveball, Wendy Whitehead, they were thrilled when the run to Undercover Agent. He really moved up nicely. Jeff Perkins and partners involved there, they're quite upbeat. Pacific Trader, the source of...
Well, I was going to leave him till last because obviously I haven't mentioned him yet because maybe Justin knows something about this 3-year-old Son of Sale from Seattle, trained by Brett Crawford. He's got a lovely draw at number 2. He's only raced 3 times. He's run second, first, and first won convincingly. But he last won in an MR72, steps up to Pinnacle Plate Company. But Brett has certainly been in fantastic form. Ably assisted here in KwaZulu-Natal by Peter Muscat, knows what he's got in his hands. So from what you know, Justin, Pacific Trader, could he take the plunge here?
I'd be very careful in this race. The reason why I had a couple of horses nominated here, we end up going in other races. So a lot of the horses that normally would run in a Pinnacle 1200 aren't here. They're either running in the race later, the drill hall, or they've gone to the computer form sprint. So it's a race. I'd be very careful here. I think anything... for me, this is a race, especially early on in the pick 6.
Go wide.
Go wide, as wide as you can.
Go wide or go home.
Correct. Don't go out the pick 6 early.
Yeah, it's a great test for Pacific Trader. He's a very interesting runner here, and certainly will give us a guide as to how good the 3-year-olds are, because certainly he comes in with most impressive form, and they obviously think very highly of him. And he's obviously got bigger fish to fry. He hasn't raced since the 17th of February. That's not a big issue at all because they get them very fit here. But obviously, this is not his mission, this Pinnacle race. And for a 3-year-old to take on some of these older hard knockers is quite a nice test for him. And he might pass that test with flying colours.
Even a horse like Tribal Fusion, Graham, Shane Humby's horse, Keegan DeMello rides, number 10. I mean, that got close up to Lord Balmoral last time. And that's got to go in as well. But I agree with Justin.
And Shane's coming to form.
Yes, Shane is certainly coming to form.
His horse, I saw today, he had a lot of horses run into the money. So
yeah, when he runs them, he doesn't run them too often, but when he runs them, if he's watching the show, he's going to have another go at me.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Spooky Humby, he takes the church.
There's another 3-year-old in the race so far, but on current form, he looks to have very little chance of upsetting the odds here. But for me, it's all about Will J. Reen and how he turns up on the night. If he turns up at his very best, which is a distinct possibility, he will have needed that last run. He'll have come on plenty from that. He's got the gate. and 1,200 meters could well be 12 to 1,400 meters is probably his best.
I'm not saying that he'll make a huge improvement, but I can tell you now, the Vaughan Marshall's horses from their first run here in Natal will make big improvements. Through the rainy periods that we had at the Summerveld, he was extra careful with his horses, and sadly that will set him back a little bit early in the season, but he'll make up for it later. So expect improvement on any of Vaughan Marshall's horses that might have been disappointing first up here.
Okay, so let's get into the first of our three features, the Independent on Saturday Drill Hall Stakes, Grade 2, 1,400 meters, our traditional season opener here at Greyville Racecourse. And Undercover Agent represents Brett Crawford here. He wasn't initially nominated for the Drill Hall Stakes. He was in fact nominated for the Daisy Guineas. Drew Wide there was supplemented for the Drill Hall Stakes. The three features, World Sports Betting, have opened. They've got an anti-post market underway, and Undercover Agent, short-priced favourite at 14 to 10. Number 1, Sales South at 7 to 2. They're betting 8 to 1 and upwards, bar the two runners. So they see this, from a betting perspective, as being quite a simple race. Do you see it the same way, Warren?
Graham, I do like Undercover Agent. I think he's a very nice horse. He's got a stride from here to Port Shepstone. He moves well. He really was impressive last time. I'm big on him. I do think he'll win. 14 to 10, I don't think there's value. So take that as you'd like to take it. But I do think he'll win. Lord Balmoral.
But does he present himself as a possible pick six banker for you? Whether he's 14 to 10 or 2 to 1, when you're structuring your pick sixes and we've got a big pool, a nice carryover, you know.
I haven't banked him, Graham, in the perms that we'll see.
Yeah, but your perm only some millionaires can afford it.
Yeah, well, you've got to go to the bank to get a loan to take that perm. But that's how difficult it is and how it should be. That's competitive racing. But he could be, for the smaller players, a pick six banker, yes, to answer your question. I do like him. I've got healthy respect for Lord Balmoral, and I do have, and you know why, just because he's close to my heart, Saratoga Dancer. I think
well, he ran second in this race last year, beaten a whisker by Marinaresco, who then went on to win the Vodacom Durban July. Correct. But Justin really likes the way that Copper Force is doing his stuff at home. The draw, a nightmare.
Yeah, look, a lot of the horses that have the July chances are not in this race. Under the terms, we're very careful where we run the horses because of penalties. So sadly, a lot of the older horses won't contest this race that used to, which then opens it up to the younger horses, a horse like Undercover Agent. He's on the up. He did absolutely nothing wrong. He blew away the field last time. Is he a pick six banker? Possibly, yes. I think he'd be very close to, because if you don't banker him here, you literally got to go to the field. It opens up everything else. Copper Force, if he had a better draw, I would think that he would be the danger. But from that draw, he's a horse that comes from the clouds. Whether we can make up the ground in the straight, a horse like young horse will come in the straight and he'll skip, and we'll be doing the chasing. So certainly, Copper Force, is he good enough to beat a field like this any day of the week? From that draw, over 1,400 is a big ask, and especially first run into the Durban, the Natal season. But I'd be so confident if he's running on strongly into the places where I'm hoping he will be, and that'll set him up for some of the Group 1s late in the season. So
He ran such a great second from near the back of the field, if not from the very back of the field, in the Lormer and
found trouble the whole way in the straight.
Would the Rising Sun Gold Challenge be his sort of next mission?
Correct. So, as I said, if we've drawn better, we could be more in the fight. But unfortunately, we're going to have to come from a long way back.
Well, okay, guys, we think that although Undercover Agent priced up at 14 to 10, the price looks a bit skinny. But if you're searching for pick six bankers, that might be the one. But watch out for Copper Force, watch out for Sales South. There's no keeping class down. And perhaps Saratoga Dancer can perform like he did last year in this race when beaten only a whisker by Marinaresco. Right, race 6 is the first leg of our special jackpot. So let's remind you all about that. It starts with a seeded pool of 50,000 Rand, and the first leg is the Daisy Guineas, the Daisy Fillies Guineas. The second leg is the Daisy Guineas. The third leg comes on Saturday in the computer form sprint, and the last leg of that is in the Premier's Champions Challenge. And so we are going to discuss these two races now, and then we'll get a view from the guys on the two Joburg legs. But that meeting will, of course, be covered in depth by the Joburg guys on Saturday morning. The Daisy Fillies Guineas is all about snow dance. First appearance in KwaZulu-Natal. So I'm going to start with you, Justin. Snow dance priced up 3 to 10. The record speaks for itself. How's she doing at home?
Look, do I think 3 to 10 is value for money? No. First run at Greyville in the night. I can go on with all the things that I think might be negative, but I think what the punters want to know is she doing well? Yes, she is. Did she gallop well at Greyville here prior to this race? Yes, she did. But it is first run into a mile, which I think is her limit in distance. But everything at home is going really well. She'll come here in as good a condition as I can have her first up in Natal. So we're very happy, but obviously the big race on July Day is her main aim. So I've got her as ready as I can now, thinking that her main race is in July.
That's the Johnson's work where
Correct,
Garden Province Stakes. Lady in Black, Warren seems to have come back to form. Elusive Heart is obviously very decent. Are those the only two dangers, or do you give Fiorella some kind of a squeak?
Graham, you know, she was a 76, well, she was lowly rated early on in her career, Fiorella. She's now all the way up to 101. Her run, I think, in the big race in Joburg was excellent. She's running close up to taking the piece. I don't think she can beat Snow Dance, Lady in Black and Elusive Heart.
I'm going to cut this short. I understand Justin's concerns, and we don't really want to put him under that much pressure. But for me, it's all about Snow Dance. I do agree with Justin that 1,600 metres, while Computer Form says that her last run, which was, of course, the Majorca Stakes, was a dazzling performance, I was a little underwhelmed by her victory at the end. She seemed to be running out of gas at the end of that 1,600 metres. Could be that a bit of use was made of. Did you see the race the way I saw it?
No, there was a bird. There were a couple of birds that flew across, and she all of a sudden ducked for them.
Okay, well, I didn't see the birds. I was looking at the other birds. And, so they were, because she just seemed to not be going through with it all the way to the line, and she had been so impressive over the 1,400 that could obviously be her best distance. But, guys, cut to the chase. We go Snow Dance. Snow Dance. Jack Mitchell, of course, his colours are sported by Snow Dance and Lady in Black. But I think on all known form to date, Snow Dance, while 3 to 10 might be very sharp to go and have an outright bet on her, she does look the pick of the race for the exotics. So the second leg of the special jackpot and the main feature of the evening is the Daisy Guineas. It's race 7 on our card at 8:15 over 1,600 metres. Lovely race. We've got Oh Susanna, the Sun Met heroine, again trained by Justin Snaith for Drakenstein Stud, and we're delighted to hear that Gaynor Rupert is going to be at Greyville on Friday night. 14 to 10, priced up favourite. The second favourite is the Cape Guineas winner, Tapper North, at 22 to 10, with Do It Again, also from the Justin Snaith stable at 7 to 1. White River from the Brett Crawford stable at 7 to 1. You can pretty much get any price about the balance. I'm going to again start with Justin because obviously Oh Susanna has been priced up favourite. She takes on the lads because he wants to keep Snow Dance and Oh Susanna apart for as long as possible. How's she doing?
She's doing very well. So her gallop was also out of the top draw here. So they've been to the course, which I think is very important for punters to know. I've brought them here. They've gone around on a right-hand turn. Their gallops were very good. She's got quite a lot to do this season. She's got the Willavington, and then depending on the Willavington, she'll go into the Durban July, the Vodacom Durban July. So yes, I had to find a race somewhere to give her a prep, and we thought the best way would be in a race like this. There's a lot of horses that have seemed to, we saw, I think it was Monk's Hood that was sold. It weakened this race a little bit, and but in saying that, there's some very nice horses here. Trust me, Tapper North can run like the wind. He might have not got
and he also galloped well at Greyville.
He galloped well. Tapper North is a horse to beat. I can tell you right now, in this race, Tapper North is a horse we have to beat. Is my filly a top filly? She's a world-class filly. This could be a proper. This is not a Group 2 field. This is a Group 1 field. You've got a horse of Brett Crawford's, which is highly tainted, but he looks at on this day in the night racing, he'll be looking at the stars. He doesn't like to concentrate too much.
We're talking about White River.
White River. White River can run properly, and if he focuses, and I know they've done a lot of work, he's a serious runner. Do It Again also very much.
First time blinkers for White River.
It could make a difference. But as I said, at night, it might make him better, might make him worse. So he's a hit and miss horse. And obviously, Do It Again. We haven't been shy in telling people that this is a horse that we really think is a horse for the future. But from that wide draw, he runs on strongly. He will be given a chance. And, you know, just everybody earmark that horse and let's see how he runs on. He's going to be given a lot to do because from the draw, but a horse to watch for the Durban July and the Daily News.
Okay, so do it again. Possibly going to find this a bit on the sharp side and watch him in the Daily News and the Vodacom Durban July. Justin's been very candid with O Susanna. She did come here to Greyville. She galloped well, but Justin rates Tapper North as the one to beat. Let's move on to race 8, the Independent on Saturday Sports and Racing MR80 handicap over 2,400 metres. And we'll come back to Warren because he knows the local form extremely well. Ballymain goes for 4 in a row. Is that possible?
Why not, Graham? Lovely for the Ivan and Daryl Moore stable. No reason why this horse can't make it 4 in a row, but I think he'll have a bit of cheek from horses like Pure Logic, Rio de la Plata. Yeah, so Root Beer ran a good second last time. So you've got to again throw in, I don't think you need to put too many, but you need 4 or 5 horses here. Healthy respect for Ballymain, but probably my first choice will be Pure Logic.
Well, he's very game and he's very consistent and, you know, he seldom runs a bad race. But certainly, I know the boys from Pro Sport International, Mike McCarb and Brett and the rest of the team, they are very excited that this horse, which comes from a family that I know well, it comes from the Wild Deb family, Ballykiss Angel by Count de Bois, the dam of this, and she was at her best over 2,400 metres. So 4 in a row is possibly on the cards. It did beat Root Beer by 2 lengths at level terms, so should again have the beating of Root Beer. Rio de la Plata, Anton up, of course, that's always a worry, but he can't win everything on the night, and he's shown, although he's ridden 8 or 9 favourites just about at every race meeting we've had during the build-up to champion season, you know, he comes away with these 2 or 3 winners because it's, you know, it's just unreasonable to expect him to deliver. Well, it's a kind of race where there has to be a favourite because something's got to be shorter than something else. But these 2-4 races are interesting. It's, of course, an MR80 handicap. So Pure Logic, Ballymain, those are the 2.
Yeah, I'd say so. Nice for main aim. I probably owned the worst main aim that was ever born, but nevertheless, nice to see the stallion having a horse like this. And Anton, as you say, just you know, they price up all of them favourite. It just puts unnecessary pressure because some of them are false favourites. That's just my opinion.
Okay, so we've spoken about the 2.2 million rand pick 6 pool, and most people don't like to get through to the last leg and have a banker in their perms and relying everything on one horse. It's the Independent Football on Saturday, maiden plate, 1,400 metres, but I'm going to label, apart from Snow Dance, which represents a possible pick 6 banker, as does Undercover Agent, but Sovereign Master, surely, Warren, and you're very close, as everybody knows, to the Duncanell stable, as Son of Dynasty out of the Archmere Archmistress, won its barrier trial, before that ran second to Air Salute, good draw, Anton Marcus. Limited opposition. Is this a banker?
Graham, I did when I did the perms this morning, I pondered whether bank or put a couple of horses. I did put a couple of horses, but for the smaller players, yes, you could banker him. He's a very nice Son of Dynasty, and he's had issues, but he's coming right, and he's a massive runner.
I would think that he might be the one to beat, but if you're looking to hedge your bets, Gunther Vrogerman has been in such outstanding form. He teams up with the Yogas Governor stable with number 2, Leslie's Path to Fame, which looks the obvious danger. But Sovereign Master on ratings is £9 better off than Leslie's Path to Fame. They meet at level weights, obviously being a maiden plate. But if you're looking for a bit of backup, possibly number 2, Leslie's Path to Fame. Do you have any opinion on the last race at Greyville?
All I know is if I've had a bad day, I might be unemployed by the 9th race. So I might be looking for your job.
Okay, like it's such a bad job to have. I never do what you do. No, all right, so we've got to touch very quickly now. We've been through the Greyville card. We've spoken about the carryover pick 6, the special jackpot, and all of those sort of things. But the special jackpot, the first 2 legs, the Daisy Filly Skinnies, the Daisy Guineas. The second 2 legs, the Computer Form Sprint and the Champions Challenge. Now, Justin, the Premier's Champions Challenge. Computer Form Sprint, you've got 2 runners. You're raiding Johannesburg from here. The horses, I believe, arrived there on Saturday morning. Is that right? Correct.
Look, firstly, I think it's a fantastic initiative to have such quality horses into a jackpot. At least the punter knows that the form's there to see. And first, I never thought I'd have 3 legs of a Durban Joburg jackpot. But back to Sergeant Hardy and Bishop Bounty. Yes, I've spoken to a few of the trainers here in Natal, and I think I'm doing the right thing in getting these horses to Johannesburg. I've done this before, and I've now had to change because it works. It didn't work, and I'm hoping now I figured out the right way. So we'll be going up at the last minute. He's really doing well at home, Sergeant Hardy. Couldn't be happier, and quite honestly, level weights, I really think he's a big runner. And if I can't get it right here, then I shouldn't be doing it again.
Well, he's rated 6 pounds better than anything in terms of the weight for age scale. And you told me off air quite confidently. I mean, we all know that the race day things can change, but yes, he's clearly the pick of the two, Sergeant Hardy, over Bishop's Bounty.
On ratings, you would think that, and Bishop Bounty's there. If they go too quick, he's a type horse that can fire home late. But as I said, you know, Bishop Bounty's going for, Sergeant Hardy's going for Sprint of the Year, and this will be a good way to cap it.
Warren, very quickly, we're running out of time, but Trip to Heaven, obvious danger. He's always there and thereabouts. His antics at the start are well documented, but notwithstanding, interestingly, he goes very well for Samanga, and Samanga, it's great to have him back in the saddle. And then the interesting one is the 3-year-old Nafa, who clearly has plenty of ability, but respiratory problems.
Yes, those horses must have chances, Graham, but I'm with Justin on this. I'm big on Sergeant Hardy. I think his last run was exceptional.
Okay, so if we were to narrow down the computer form sprint from that special jackpot point of view, Sergeant Hardy's got to go in, Trip to Heaven has got to go in, and Nafa's got to go in, because you just don't want to leave him running loose. You've got to include him, whether he's up to the task or whether he isn't, I don't know. But are there any of the other runners? I mean, there are some runners here at weight for age that I must be honest, I'm surprised to see in the race, and I could end up with egg on my face. But a horse like Golden Man looks completely outclassed here. The filly Exquisite Touch is an interesting runner. I mean, 6 wins from 10 runs. She's clearly top class. In her last 5 outings, she's had 4 wins and a second. And if something goes wrong with the better handicapped runners, she could well be there to pick up the pieces. She's very much at home at Turfentine.
Most certainly, I agree with that comment. Most certainly, yes. And Sean Terry is banging out the winners, and that's really a horse to respect, I agree. But I'm a big on Sergeant Hardy.
Pinnacle Peak, a 3-year-old. We were talking about 3-year-olds running against older horses in quality races. Pinnacle Peak, another 3-year-old in the race, along with Nafa, along with Rebels Champ. Interesting form line, because he seems to have only run against 2 horses, Dickensian and Down to Zero. He's beaten them, run second to them, etc. But Karari is having an unbelievable run. You like the Kararis, Justin?
Yeah, for sure. We've had a lot of joy with them, and we bought a few at the National, so definitely.
And John Finlayson, otherwise known as Oscar, he'd love to win the computer form sprint. Attenborough, Joey Ramsden, can he pick it up on the big day and fire him home?
It's a hard ask. You know, if I thought that race was... Attenborough had moments where he looked like he'd beat Sergeant Hardy, and then he just hasn't seemed to have gone on with it. It's very hard to follow the form of that horse.
And then one other runner, if you are going wide, we're very confident about Sergeant Hardy. If he travels well, his prep has gone superbly well. He's a quality sprinter. He's going for the championship title, as you heard from Justin, hoping to be crowned at Empress Palace on the 13th of August as the champion sprinter of South Africa for the current year. But Champagne Hayes, if you're going to throw in an additional runner, you'll tell me it's 5 furlongs too short, but if they go a murderous pace in the early stages, he could be mowing them down, as he has done before. So it's an interesting race. Sergeant Hardy, the handicappers think he's the one to beat. Justin thinks he's the one to beat. Warren thinks he's the one to beat. I think he's the one to beat. But the computer form sprint is never quite that simple. So you have to watch out for Trip to Heaven. You might just want to put the 2 class acts in the race. The Premier's Challenge, Champions Challenge. Allow me to put my teeth back in my mouth. The Premier's Champions Challenge over 2,000 meters. Interesting, Warren. Rematch of the first 3 past the post from last year. Deo Javente, Legal Eagle, another rusher. You could have thrown a blanket over them as they finished last year. To everybody's shock and horror, of course, Deo Javente on that occasion upstaged Legal Eagle. Everybody's looking for a banker in these in the special jackpot. Are you going to give Legal Eagle another chance, or is 2,000 meters a question mark?
That is a question mark for me, Graham, and the reason that I've included another rusher is because of the question mark for the 2,000 for Legal Eagle. He's a superstar. I mean, I'm going to cover 2 horses for me. Another rusher, Legal Eagle. Another rusher just impresses me more and more every time this horse runs. So 2 horses for me.
I just warn you that De Givente, as enigmatic as he seems to be, is clearly a better horse, or has performed his best at Turfentine. So he's a bit of a worry for me, because if he delivers, he could well run nearer the back of the field. Coral Fever, Justin, is an improving horse representing the Robbie Sage stable. Is it a tough ask at weight for 8? He won a handicap last time. He's got the Vodacom Durban July earmarked for the future. Abashiri, those kind of horses, are they in the race?
Look, it's very hard at these terms. I mean, I had a few horses that I could have taken up to Johannesburg, but to take on these horses at level weights, I'm okay, thanks. At Turffontein, these horses are unbelievable. I mean, what does worry me is that Anton and Legal Eagle have this affinity. They are unbelievable together. They're just very hard horses to get by. And if there's a few youngster jockeys, they've got to take on Anton. If they don't take on Anton, he will play this race as he always does with this horse. And he knows, come boys, come take on my horse, because you know he's going to fight again. So it's just incredible how they just keep going, both Anton and Legal Eagle. So it'll be a great story to see them win. But Another Russia, she got close last time when she took him on. And only through good riding with Anton, he just moved at the right time. And this time he might not be so lucky.
Well, there you have it. We're just about out of time. Once again, we'd like to thank you for joining us for this show, previewing, of course, Friday night's opening of Champion Season 2018. Lots happening at Greyville, 40,000 Rand in cash being given away. Of course, the Eat Street Market, on-track entertainment, the Bry Zone, the Lightning Shot Bar, but most of all, high-quality racing. Snow Dance, Oh Susanna, Sail South, Undercover Agent. They're all in action, amongst others, at Greyville on Friday evening. We're going to shut out with some suggested permutations from Warren before we close the show. Give you a quick look. His pick 6 is not cheap, I must tell you. I love the parenthesis. What does it say? Take whatever percentage you can afford. But there's his bipod guide. 7, 9 and 10 in the opener, by 1, 3, 4 and 6, by 5 and 8, by 4 and 12, by leg 5, banker number 1, that's Snow Dance, I presume, and 3 and 10. And that bipod only costs 96 Rand, and that can give you a nice return. The PA guide, 3 and 4 and 6, by 5 and 8, by 4 and 12, by 1, 2 and 4, by 3, 4 and 10, by 1 and 3, by 1 and 10. Interesting that you bank a Snow Dance in the bipod, but not in the place accumulator. And the total there is 432 Rand. The pick 6. I like that. Take an affordable percentage.
It's difficult, Graham. It's hard.
Give us your thinking here. Just go wide,
and take a percentage.
Sounds like that bowler in the ODI the other evening when they needed 21 runs off 7 balls, and he helped the opposition by bowling 4 wides in a row. And enough of the frivolity. Justin Snaith, thank you again for taking time out to come and join us on the show this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Your insight, as always, is very valuable. The punters must listen, make up their own minds as to where they stand in terms of your runners. Warren, thank you again. And from me, Graham Hawkins, it's been a pleasure to host these 2 guests, Justin Snaith and Warren Linferno. And may I say, wonderful national yearling sales last week. The mood was great. And with the quality of racing that we've got this coming weekend, the mood can only get better.